Guys, for this video, you need a piece of paper, a pencil with a good eraser, or another just plain eraser. And you will also need either like a ruler or something that has a straight edge that you can use. So the first thing we're going to do on our paper is find what you think is about the middle and put a dot. Okay, now we're going to go to each of the corners. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm not going to go right to the corner. I'm going to go on either side and put 2 dots. It kind of looks like I'm making a person, and the corner is going to be his nose. So I'm doing that on all 4 corners. Done that. And I'm actually going to make mine a little darker. So hopefully these will be a little darker for you. And mine are bigger. You actually want to make sure when you draw these that you draw them pretty lightly, because you're going to need to erase them. But I just wanted to just show you so that you could see that I had where my marks are. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your ruler or whatever else you're using, and you're going to, we'll start right here. So I'm going to go from my middle dot very lightly, 1 dot. Then I'm going to go from my middle dot to the next dot. Okay. Then I'm going to do the same thing all the way around. So I'm going to go from the middle dot to the corner dot that I made. Middle dot to the corner dot that I made. Middle dot to the corner dot that I made. Middle dot to the corner dot. And I'm going to go over here and do my last one. Middle dot to my corner dot. And middle dot to my corner dot. So now you kind of have a strange looking X. Everything that's up here would be like the top of your building. And so you're going to pretend like you're looking up at all the skyscrapers in the city. So we're going to just start with one first. Doesn't matter which one you start with. So I'm going to start with this one. We draw a straight line so I'm kind of cutting off the top of that triangle. Here's where you need your eraser. So I'm going to erase these lines that are connecting to the dot. And again, remember I told you that if you did yours lightly, it would work out a lot better. I'm going to go ahead and do the outline so that you can see this. This line, the top of your building. As you are going closer to down towards the bottom where you might be standing and you're looking up, it's going to get smaller on top and it'll stay pretty large on the bottom. So on this one, I am going to draw 3 lines, not very big. And then I'm going to come down and I'm going to draw 3 lines again, but this one's going to be a little bit bigger. And I'm going to come down. Notice like the first time I only came down this much. I'm going to come down a little bit more and draw my 3 lines again, a little bigger. Come and have here, and we want a little even white and line a little more. Okay. Now what we're going to do is make these into windows. So I am going to do the middle ones first. They're the easiest. And I'm just going to turn it into a rectangle. I'm going to come down below and I'm going to turn that one into a rectangle or square. Make 2 more rectangles, one here, and notice that my gap is getting a little wider each time I go down. So I have my center windows, and now I'm going to take a look at the windows on the side. And I'm going to cover up the other side just so that you don't get confused. Okay. So here's where the line to the top of the window ends, and I'm just going to draw a line to where this other window would end, because you want the tops of your windows to pretty much be the same. Now, see this darker line, the dark line over here, the line that's the slant. I'm going to draw my window. It's going to have a slant there and a slant there. So notice this window, both of these lines go the same direction as the line of your building. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I want my top to be about here, and then I'm going to draw a slant over here and a slant over here. And I'm going to do that all the way down. So now I've got my center and I've got my windows over here. So I'm going to cover these up now. And you'll notice on this side, I'm going to be slanting in the opposite direction. So again, I want to make sure the top of my window is the same. And I'm going to slant, slant. Top of the window is the same. Slant, slant. And I'm going to do this all the way down. All right, I'm going to go over all of mine in Sharpie so you can see it. After I do that, then I'll erase the line so you can see what it will look like when the lines are erased. If you have a Sharpie or a marker that you want to use, you can do this right along with me. That is my first building. When I color it in, it's going to look like this building. The next building I'm going to do, I'm just going to go right next door to it and draw another building. Same as before. Here's my triangle. This one I'm going to make come down a little bit lower than the one I did before, and I'm going to draw a line. which cuts off the top of the triangle. And I'm going to go ahead and make my lines darker just so that you can see them. All right, so that is my next building. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to lightly draw a line from where that dot is. Remember our dot that we started with? And I'm going to go from the dot and I'm going to go straight down. So there's the dot. And very lightly, I'm going to come straight down. Just like we did with the windows, I'm going to come just a little bit wider. And I'm going to go from my dot and go straight down. Then I'm going to go a little wider from my dot, straight down. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to go from my dot, and I want it to be about the same distance. So that doesn't look too bad. And one more. I'm going to go through and just make these lines a little darker. This building, when I color it, is going to end up like that one. So we have our first two buildings, and we're going to do the next building. So for this one, I'm going to bring the top kind of back up a little higher. So for this building, I just have a row of windows going down the center, and then I just put two other lines. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to go down and draw my lines for where I'm going to be putting my windows. So I'm going to do a window here. And remember, each time you want to make it a little wider. So from here to here, a little wider and a little longer. And I'm going to, just for decoration, I'm going to go where my original dot was. And I am just going to draw a slant going this way. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So there's my dot. And I want them to be about the same size. Okay. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to draw my windows. These are going to be a little more narrow. And I'm going to go ahead and go over these things using my Sharpie. So this building is going to be this one. We have one last building, and you can see this one where this building, the stripes kind of went down. This time they're just going across. Just like every other time, I am going to cut the top of my triangle off. And let me outline it in Sharpie. All right, so my last building, and I am just going to draw lines on this one towards the top. And I'm going to connect it, and I'm going to get a little wider between the two lines. They're going to get a little wider, little wider. There are our buildings. Next thing I'm going to show you is the sky, because that really helps make it so you can see what your building looks like looking up into the sky. You need a color pencil, a marker, or crayon, and I want you to kind of watch what I'm doing. So I'm going to just kind of make like little cloud shape there. And then I'm going to kind of come up here and make a cloud shape. Everything in between is going to stay white. So I'm going to show you, and I'm just going to color this lightly to start with. Now I'm going to go between another building. And this one I think I'm going to make a little bit different. And again, I'm not going to color anything on the inside. All right, so now I'm going to come over to the next area, and I think I'm going to make this one. We're going to go here. And I think I'm going to make that one like that. And this one I'm going to come up a little higher. And maybe a little lower there. Now I can go and color in this part up here. And I'll go back in and shade these all in so they're all the same color. And just to kind of give you an idea, here is this one, and you can see it looks as though you're looking up at the building. And now we're ready to start coloring our buildings. So I'm going to be using gray and black. You can use whatever colors you want. And on my first building, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it where it starts with gray up here. Then the next one would be black. So I'm just going to go through and color all my grays. I'm going to go and color in the rest of my buildings, and then I'll probably go back and make these colors a little darker. And when you're all done, you should have a picture that looks kind of like this. So I hope you had fun doing this drawing. I know it was a long time, but hopefully you're proud of what you've done. Please take a picture of your drawing and put it in Google Classroom. We would love to see it.